Hello and welcome to our letter of the day video. Today's letter is the letter U. There's U, uppercase and lowercase. The sign language for U looks like this. Just take two fingers, put them together, and that's the sign language U. Let's go all the way back and see if we remember all the letters. We're going to sing the ABC song with our mouth and with our hands. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, quack, quack, like a duck's mouth, quack, quack, Q, R, S, T, U. And that's where we're going to stop because that's our letter for today, the letter U. Today our theme is underwater pond life. So we're going to have some fun with all of that today. To decorate the letter U, we're going to color it blue, like water. I'm just using a blue marker. And I'm going really fast. You'll take your time and do a great job. If you have some stickers, maybe some fish stickers or frogs or turtles, you could add those on too. I didn't have any regular fish stickers, but I did have some Finding Nemo, some Nemo stickers. So those are fish. Actually, the fish in Nemo would not live in a pond. They would live in the ocean with salt water, but the water in a pond is actually fresh water. But that's how we're going to decorate the letter U today, kind of like a pond with some fish. Now let's write the letter U. Let's do our handwriting time. So to write the letter U, we're going to start at the top. We're going to dive deep into the pond and explore it. And then we're going to come all the way back up for air. So you're going to just dive deep, explore, and then come all the way back up to the surface. Let's see what that looks like on the handwriting house, okay? So we're going to start at the top. We're going to make sure we touch the bottom and then come all the way back up. So let's just pretend we're diving deep into the pond, go all the way to the bottom, turn, and then come all the way back up to the top. So down and up, down and up. That's the uppercase letter U. Now, for the lowercase letter U, it looks a lot like uppercase U, except for it has a tail. In just a minute during science, we are going to look at some pond water under the microscope. And there are some things swimming in that water, and some of them look like they have little tails too, squiggling around. So go down and up and give it a tail. That's the lowercase U. On the handwriting house, we need to be downstairs, but we need to go all the way down to the bottom and up, and then fall straight down. Down and up, and then right back down. Now, sometimes students want to do this. They want to make that U with a tail that just comes right off the side. But see if you can do it like this instead. Go all the way up. I'll change the marker so you can see that you need to fall straight down. So down and up, and then fall straight back down to make that tail. Down and up and down. That's the lowercase letter U. Now, U is one of those special letters that we call the vowels. A, E, I, O, U. That means that U has two sounds. Well, normally we say that U makes this sound like when you've been eating too much cake and cookies and brownies and donuts and ice cream and candy. When you eat all those things and you get a full tummy, you usually say, oh, oh, oh. But today we're talking about the pond. So something that lives near the pond is a frog. And frogs don't eat all those sweet things, but they do eat bugs, most delicious bugs. So even frogs can eat too many and say, uh, like the letter U. Well, I have several of these. Let's see how many frogs I have in my hand, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to sing a little song. It's 5 green and speckled frogs, and I bet you'll catch on really quickly. 5 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are, how many? 4 green speckled frogs. 4 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are 3 green speckled frogs. 3 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are 2 green speckled frogs. 2 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there is 1 green speckled frog. 1 green and speckled frog sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. He jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are no green speckled frogs. Well, those green speckled frogs ate all those most delicious bugs, and now they're full, and they're going to say what? Uh, uh, just like the letter U. Well, remember I told you that U makes 2 sounds, so you can say but you can also say its own name. So on the count of 3, tell me what your name is. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. What's your name? Miss Kathy. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3. What's your name? Miss Kathy. Well, you's name is you, so you can say but you can also say you. Well, we're going to read our sight word reader right now, and some of the things that you're going to see start with and one of the things starts with you. Do you remember what this sight word is? We. We. What's this sight word? Oh, I've lost something. Find. Find. What's this word? It's actually a number. 1. 1. All right, let's read those again. We find 1. All right, now let's read. What are we going to find? We find 1 up arrow. That's an up arrow. Let's do the one down here. You know what this is. We find 1 umbrella. Let's do the last one. We find 1 unicorn. Good job. And unicorn starts with the U sound. Okay, now for math today, we're going to be looking at a pond and we're going to be doing some directional words. Look at the top. There's a frog. He's jumped really high in the sky. He is above the pond. Now I'm going to move him. He's right in the center. He's in the pond now. Let me move him further down. He is next to or beside the duck. Let's move him over here. Now he is below the flower. We have a sheet that we're going to do together. I'll make sure the link is below so you can get a copy of it if you'd like. It says, number 1, that we're supposed to color the animal that is on the water using a red crayon. What animal is on the water? That's the duck. The duck is on the water, so let's color that duck red. The next one says, color the animal that is above the water blue. What animal is above the water? That would be the dragonfly. Good job. Okay, the next one says to color the animal that is next to the water green. What animal is next to or beside the pond? That would be the lizard. Good job. So let's color it green. The next one says color the animal that is in the water yellow. What animal is in the water or underwater? That's the fish. The fish is underwater or in the water. The next one says to color the animal that is in and out of the water. We're supposed to color it purple. It's the frog. The frog is in and out of the water. You did a great job. You're great with directional words. And now we have some pretty colorful pond life on this picture. Well, what color? We didn't color it on our picture, but what color would the water be? What color would you color the water? You'd probably color it blue. Pond water sometimes looks muddy and brown, but we're going to use blue as our color for today. B-L-U-E spells blue. B-L-U-E spells blue. Hi-ho, did you know? B-L-U-E spells blue. The big sky is blue. The ocean is too. Hi-ho, did you know? B-L-U-E spells blue. Well, for our shape today, I have something else that's blue. Take a look at this and tell me what shape it is. Well, you probably said a diamond, and you'd be exactly right, but I'm going to tell you another name for a diamond. It's a rhombus. Can you say rhombus? Rhombus. This is Randy rhombus. I have 4 sides. All of them are diagonal lines. Let's count the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. So a rhombus has 4 diagonal sides. And let's count how many corners. 1, 2, 3, 4. A rhombus has 4 corners. A rhombus is the same as a diamond. It has 4 diagonal sides. Okay, now for art, we're going to do something pretty fun. We're going to be making a pond habitat in a bucket. So let's go over to the art table and get started. For art, we are making a pond habitat, and I just have a bucket that I found in the kitchen. Anything that will hold water will work just fine. And now I went outside and I looked for some things that might be in or around a pond. So I just picked up some grass. I picked up a twig that could be like a log. I found some rocks and some leaves. Okay, next I'm going to add in some things that I found around my home that might live in or near a pond. One of the things was this squishy turtle, so I'll put him over here on the rock. I also found a little frog. He can maybe go right over there. And a toy fish. You'll have to look around and see what you can find. I found a duck. This looks like a superhero duck, but it's the only one I could find. And ducks do live near the pond and like to swim. Then I took a rubber band and I just cut it so that it could be stretched out long like a snake. And then I have this shell. It's not a shell that you'd find at the beach, at the pond. You'd find this at the beach. But there are some snail shells that you might find near a pond, so that's why I put that in there too. There's one other thing you'd find at the pond, water. So I'm going to pour some water into my pond habitat. And this was a pretty fun art project. In fact, it would be pretty fun to play with today. Okay, now I'm going to come back over and we're going to do some science together. For science today, we're going to be looking at pond water. I went to a pond near my home and I scooped up some of the water in an empty water bottle. And now we can look at that with our eyes, but we won't be able to see the teeny tiny things that are in the pond water. For that, we're going to need this. This is a microscope. Now I'm going to talk to you about the basic parts of a microscope, and then we'll take a look at that pond water. All right, this part right here is called the eyepiece. It's called that because that's where you look with your eye down into the eyepiece. The eyepiece is on this part. It turns this way and that way. This is called the head. Just like your eye is on your head, the eyepiece is on the head of the microscope. This part right here that curves is called the arm. Right here, you can see these parts. There are four of them on my microscope. Some only have one. They are the lenses. The lenses can turn, so you can choose which one you want to use. Right here, this part is called the stage. If you've ever been to a concert or if you've been even at church when you see the singers or the preacher, they're up on a stage so you can see them. Well, this is a stage. It's where we put whatever we want to see. And so we're going to put some pond water right here on the stage in just a minute. Let's look way down here. This part is called the base. It's the part that sits on the table. That is the base. Now this part right here, it's on top of the base, is called, it kind of sounds like a superhero name. It's called the illuminator, and I'll tell you why. Because when I flip the microscope on, a light turns on in the illuminator, and that light shines up all the way through the stage. Now there's one other thing I want to show you, and that's this knob on the side. This is called the focusing knob. I can turn it this way or that. It helps the image, if it's blurry, to become clearer. All right, so these are the parts of a microscope. We're going to use this microscope to look at pond water. So what I'm going to do is take the water bottle where I've scooped up my pond water, pour it into the cap. I just need a little bit. And then I'm going to take an eyedropper. This part at the top is called the bulb. So watch what happens. I'm going to squeeze the bulb and then I'm going to let it go and watch what happens. Look at that. It just sucked up a lot of the pond water right down into it. So now I need one more thing, and that's called a slide. It looks like just a piece of glass, but it's a special piece of glass. It's called a slide. And now I'm going to drop the water from the eyedropper onto the slide. Now it's time to take a look at it. So where's it going to go? It's going to go on the stage. I'm going to turn the illuminator on, and we're ready to take a look and see what's inside this pond water. Okay, so let's look down into the eyepiece on the microscope and see what is in the pond water. Ooh, look at that. I even see some little things swimming around in there. Wow. Oh, look at that. Look at that little organism. He's going all over the place. He's really moving. That is pretty cool. Look at him go. Well, that was pretty cool. It was neat to see all the things that were in the pond water. God designed some pretty cool things, some great big things, but also some tiny microscopic things. That means things that you can't see with your eye, but you need a microscope to see. Now, don't worry, that water was found in a yucky, slimy pond, but the water that you drink is clean. It doesn't have any of that stuff in it. All right, so let's read a story together before we say goodbye. And this story is called Over and Under the Pond. It's by Kate Messner. Over and Under the Pond. Over the pond, we slide, splashing through lily pads, sweeping through reeds. The water's a mirror reflecting the sky, sunshine and clouds, then a shadow below. What's down there? I ask. Under the pond, Mom says. Under the pond is a whole hidden world of minnows and crayfish, turtles and bullfrogs. We're paddling over them right now. Over the pond, we skim past tall rushes. Whirligig beetles loop and twirl, skaters on a warm summer surface. Under the pond, minnows dart through waving forests of grass, while a brook trout lurks ready to lunge. Over the pond, we lift and dip and pull past a row of painted turtles on a waterlogged tree. One, two, three, they slip off and away. Splash, 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 under the pond. Over the pond, cattails rustle and shush in the wind. Listen close. Cuckleree! Red-winged blackbirds race by. One has grass for her nest. Under the pond, a caddisfly larva builds a home of her own, a secret shelter of pebbles and sand. Over the pond, the shadows of trees lean out from the shore. We coast under a low-hanging branch. A moose looks up with a mouthful of water lilies. We've interrupted his lunch. Under the pond, beavers dive deep. They pump with powerful tails and rise to the surface with delectable roots from the mud. Over the pond, the wind gives us a push and stirs the light dabbled leaves on shore. There, on a branch, a new goldfinch teeters, finally ready to fly. Under the pond, tadpoles are changing, learning to hop. They're losing their tails, growing legs, and growing up. Over the pond, there at the shore, tall and silent and still, a green-blue heron stares down into the deep. It tenses, takes one long-legged step, and strikes. It catches a wiggling quicksilver minnow from where it was hiding under the pond. Over the pond, we drift, heads tipped up to the sun. A woodpecker clings to a teetering pine, digging for ants. Under the pond, an otter claws for freshwater mussels. Over the pond, a sleepy dragonfly lands for a rest. His spindly legs tickle my knee. Under the pond, dragonfly larvae watch what swims by. They catch minnows in monster-fast jaws. Over the pond, the shadows stretch. Ospreys circle on quiet wings. Raccoons and minks stalk the shoreline for supper. Under the pond, with a flip of a tail, a crayfish disappears in the dark. Over the pond, we head for home. We glide, swish, bump, right up onto shore as a far-off loon calls goodnight. The sky turns from sunset to dusk to dark. Night settles over the pond. The prowling catfish and drowsy turtles, the scuttling crayfish and tadpoles turned frogs, wading herons and stalking raccoons. And the hidden world under the pond. The end. Well, I had fun learning about letter U and looking under the pond at pond water under the microscope. I'll see you next time for our letter of the day. Goodbye.